Hello, hello. We're here again for yet another episode of Roadmap, AutoTrader UK's product and tech podcast. We're going a bit different today. So we've had lots of ones about different people's careers or things that we're really interested in or passionate about in AutoTrader. But today, we're actually going to talk about the podcast itself. And this isn't because we run out of material. There's loads of material, just promising. But actually, it has been a fascinating journey. We had an episode around, or we'll have one around, Simple is Complex. And actually, it has been a bit of a complex machine to get this off the ground, and I'm one little cog in it. So I've got two of our OG crew with me today on the couch. So it is totally different for them because they're usually in the room pointing and winking at me and doing some little things to keep me going. So I've got Callum Barker-Nichol, one of our BAs. Hey, Cal.
Hey, Pete.
And I've got Ian Walker, Senior Creative Designer. Hey, Ian.
How we doing? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So what's it like to be on the other side?
Utterly bizarre. So I'm usually just behind that camera, breaking the fourth wall already.
Yeah.
Kind of taking notes, making sure that, we're staying on topic, getting all the thumbnails and all that stuff thought about.
Yeah, and
just over there.
We're just silently judging everybody who's on it. Like, was that good? Was that good? But now it's us. Like, everyone's looking at us like, oh. So yeah, I'm hoping this will be a decent one, really.
No, I think it's going to be brilliant. I mean, it made me laugh because I was thinking when you're sitting down there, Ian, is you're usually in front of me giving me a countdown of minutes. And when we were like first started, I'm like giving the old thumbs up and you're like, just a bit of a tip. Don't engage with me. Don't engage. But like, yeah, let's
Shadow.
go. Yeah.
A careless whisper.
Yeah. Hello. Right, let's go right back to the beginning because I've only joined you part way through. So I think me personally, maybe 12 months ago, Tom Wakefield, one of our video producers, like I think he was chasing me around the office. I'm like, who is this guy? I've never met him before. And he was like, hey, we're thinking of doing a podcast. I'm like, yep, sounds real, pal. I'm like, and he's like, yeah, do you want to be part of the crew? And I was like, not so sure on this. I'll tell you what, it sounds a bit bonkers, I'll give it a go. Yeah. But I didn't realise at that point there'd also be months and months of thinking and it coming from a bit of a seed and idea. So let's go back to that first day of when whoever had the idea of let's do something around which became the podcast. I'm going to start with you, Cal.
Yeah, I had to look into Slack and Outlook and trace back to last year to see when this actually started. So we have there's a small group of us in the product team that work on things like our product brand activity, so things like putting on talks and doing blog posts and things like that. So we came together with Yasmin, who's in the product team, Rachel and Paul, and we were thinking about new things that we could do that was slightly different, that could engage a product and tech community. And I think one of us threw it in there. I've had credit for it. I'm not sure if it was actually me, but someone said, what about a podcast? Why don't we ever go with that? That sounds like something a bit quirky, a bit different. Obviously, podcasts are mega popular across the UK more broadly. There seems to be a podcast popping up every day. So my kind of action from that meeting, I remember the meeting well, was, right, go speak to Tom in video production and see what we actually need to do to get this off the road. Because we thought, instead of having all this fancy stuff, we'd be sat around one of the little tables in a meeting room with an iPhone on the desk going, right, let's have a chat about this today. Whereas that was
what my impression was when I joined Tom. So when did you join the crew then, Ian? Were you right in the beginning, or were you like an addition as once momentum got going?
Yeah, at the beginning-ish. So I was actually working with Tom on a separate project about our brand, so AutoTrader Life. Anyone's ever heard of that? Or it's also got a YouTube channel. And about our brand as a whole and how we can attract candidates and things like that, very much from a people ops, HR perspective. And for a tech company, we're still seen as a magazine company, and how can we kind of distill that? So I got that project off the ground, and then Tom sort of tapped me on the shoulder and was like, there's talks about making a product and tech podcast. What do you think? And creatively, this is something I've always wanted to do.
Right.
So for my career, this is a big tick in the box. It was something I was desperate to do. I was like, yeah, okay, but let's hear what it is first. And then I ended up on a Teams call, I think, with Callum and Yasmin to understand what the ins and outs of it were.
Yeah, really wanted to get Yaz on today, but unfortunately she's unavailable, which is a bit of a pity. And it was I'd heard the murmurings through sort of Ben Smith had mentioned it, and I'm like Yeah, so I mean, I'm not a massive podcaster. I don't know, like it's something I dabble with now and again. If it's like a Ron Burgundy type podcast, like I'm into all like the comic stuff.
But in a glass case of emotion.
But it was one where, like, once I heard about it, it did sound really, really interesting. But like anything, that was just an idea. So along the way were the times where, like, there was those like milestone moments where you go, this is actually now becoming a reality. But like conversely, was there also like setbacks along the way to say, do you know what, maybe this is too hard, maybe we're biting off too much that we can chew?
I wouldn't say setbacks. I think as we've kind of gone, it's been quite organic really, hasn't it, like finding out and understanding, because I've never created a podcast before or ever understood it. I don't know anything about sound production or anything like that. But what I would say is, it was a big tick box for me. This something I was super nervous about at the time was I did not want this to be like a yes man thing. I was like, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it properly, like not just with a phone in the middle of a room. And I don't want it to just be, we do 6 episodes and then it dies.
Yeah,
That was the one thing I was super scared about. I was like, it has to be good. It has to be really good. We have to put all our effort into it, and there has to be an understanding that, you know, there is a time commitment to this. Like, we all have day jobs. This is all, like, we do this as extra. And yeah, I definitely got proved wrong on that point, because I think, especially in the early days, like, I was pretty much in Callum's shadow all the time. Like, I was all over like Slack, like chatting to you. And also like we interviewed Pete for this. Like, you were up against some stiff competition. It wasn't like a yes man thing.
It wasn't,
do you know what I mean?
an interview.
Like,
I literally was like, yeah, come along, do a little sound check. And it's like, okay, so we'll leave you, we'll let you know. And I'm like, eh?
Yeah, we recorded and everything, like, and loads of other people came forward, and I think that was part of, like, the one thing I was really adamant about. It was like, if people are going to do this, you have to understand that it is a time commitment, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, we've had a lot of autonomy with it, which has made it a lot kind of easier, because we could form this little tight working group, work really closely with each other alongside, as you said, our other responsibilities, and that's massively helped. So I think if we had to get approval every time we had to make a decision about the podcast or anything to do with taking it forward, then it would have been very different. But that's quelled any doubts for me about the whole process. It's like, we're a little team, like we'll figure it out. It's almost reflects how we build products, which we've talked a lot about on the podcast. It's like, we had this idea, we pulled everyone together from different disciplines that have got that expertise, and we just iterated on it, and we just kept going with it. So it's been fab.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think, like you say, on like the bit where it became real, actually it didn't become real to me until that first episode we did. Like, and actually maybe it was a week before where I realised I had to actually prep for doing it, not like over prep, but actually think about doing questions. That was when, and I think Tom had and Jord, the video equipment arrived, and it's like, oh, this is real now. This is real.
But the amount of people that would turn up and be like, oh, we're filming this as well. And it's like, we're playing for all the marbles.
Yeah. No, well, I didn't know that. Actually, I didn't even, you probably told me, but I didn't think about it. But even now, like, there was even with autonomy or like tight working group, there's still a level of doubt or like, like, oh my God, is this the right thing to do? I mean, even today, even before recording any episodes, I have that pang of like, oh no. And the minute you sit down, I'm like, oh, it's good, it's all good. But is there ones where you still feel like either nervous, scared, or like overly excited? Does it still feel really fresh? How you experience it on there? Because we do, like, we work together probably on a monthly basis, don't we?
I think it's hard, isn't it? I think nobody wants a dead silence in the middle of an episode or something like that, where it's like, so how was your day? I don't know. And thankfully we've never had that yet. I think we're still in the infancy of like understanding what content like people want to watch and listen to. I think that's a little bit more difficult, let's say, because we touch across a lot of different bases and do a lot of different things. I guess there's that underlying like anxiousness of like, is somebody going to say something outrageous or like give away the secret sauce, or they're getting fired tomorrow and we don't know. It's like, I'll tell you what, see you later.
It is a funny one, that, because like, again, giving away trade secrets is we do try and do everything like one take, absolutely minimal if any, editing at all. And that was, again, every guest asked me, like, so it'll be edited. And I'd be like, no, we're going to do it in one shoot, one take, natural, just have a chat. But then that does open you up to there's been times where it's like going, oh, we're right on the border there. But I think it goes back to your point, Callum. We're not having like a overly, like, I need to measure every single word that you're doing. And is everything absolute? It is. We've got freedom to talk, but it is that bit where you're always on slight tenterhooks.
Yeah, and what people don't realise as guests is that when they come on and they're talking about something that they're super passionate about, the time will absolutely fly, and they won't even think about the fact that they've got a microphone and a camera, multiple cameras in the room recording them. So I think, maybe the first couple of episodes were a bit like, just need to make sure that these go smoothly and, like, nail the process and refine it. But since then, I think, because we know that people are coming on to speak about stuff that they really enjoy and really love,
and I think to that point as well, like the reason I'm probably not as nervous as I should be is it's because, like, it's the people that make the topic compelling for me. It's like, oh, do a topic on data, and it's like, oh man, I'm probably not that into it. But if someone's like really passionate and really emotive about it, I'm like, do you know what, all right, I don't know anything about data. Why? No, I mean, I've actually, not that I wouldn't do, but because there's lots of, like, even yourselves, like, we don't work often in a day-to-day capacity, but learning more about video production, creative studio, what Callum does in his day job, like in terms of when I think we've had Catherine on and others around data, it's like, it is fascinating, especially like you say, when people are really passionate about it. And I think the bit that got me going on it was the fact that you lot were super passionate about it, like, you know what I mean? You were like, well, I can remember sitting in this room and everyone's like, we're really up for it. And I'm like, it was a bit of a gulp and going, hey, they mean business here. This isn't me just rocking up like, whatever. And then that's it. It's the fact that, like you said, time commitment, spending evenings having to think about it. But I'm going to move on to, like, why, because we got asked why before we did our first episode. Went to lots of groups and everyone's like, why? But actually, before that, were there particular other podcasts or similar things out there that you were looking at, different companies or individually, and like that's an inspiration for me? Because I know you've talked to many companies about what they're doing, what we're doing.
Yeah, one of those activities we did probably when you came on board in quite early on was looked at all of the podcasts that companies were doing that were, like, shedding a light on how they worked. So I mean, there are tons, and we've chatted to ASOS, who are doing a great podcast, ASOS Tech Podcast, so check that out. And there's Intercom on products and loads of others that we loved, but we wanted to make this its own thing and have its own brand, which was slightly detached from Auto Trader and kind of, able to run by itself as a product and technology podcast. So there's a lot of time and effort that went on quite early on, especially between us, I think, on, like, right, how do we position this, and how does it sit in relation to all the other podcasts that are out there, because there are lots of them, because it's a really powerful way, and we'll chat about it in a bit, but really powerful way to kind of have a window into life at that company. So lots of people are doing it. Yeah,
and I think, like Callum said, it's that window in, like, everyone puts, like, Apple on a pedestal, Google on a pedestal and stuff like that, and things go wrong. Like, they have their ways of working, like milling the way through, and Auto Trader's no different to that. And I think especially from my point of view, coming from that brand perspective and stuff like that, it's always working. Like, someone somewhere is interested in things we've got to talk about, whether it's like you're applying for a job, like you generally have an interest in Auto Trader. Like, if Apple started a podcast tomorrow about their ways of working, I think everybody'd be on it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I think everyone is genuinely interested to hear how other companies work and they do things. Like, one of the podcasts that sort of got me thinking, which I listen to a lot, is it's called, like, Did I Do That? And it's just about, like, graphic design and things, how things go wrong all the time, and things do go wrong, or and things go really great sometimes, and it's interesting to see how other people do that. And I don't think people should be afraid of things like that, to give away the secrets in a way.
Cool. So onto the why then. So I think I got asked so many times where you're plugging it, like, we're going to do this, we're going to get people on, and then a little bit of a bit of a silence, and then you'd get a question, why are you doing it? And it was a really hard, because you're trying to do lots of things. But again, over to you two, because I've got probably my own reasons for why and own passions for it. But like, why?
Yeah, I think the main reason really is because we know we've got loads of super passionate people that work on some really important stuff in the business, and this serves as another platform for them to come and chat and have the opportunity to come and speak about stuff that they love. And in the process of doing that, as Ian said, we're a like 45-year-old company, and we've got a bit of that kind of magazine reputation still.
Yeah.
So bringing out some of these tech products and tech themes that we talk about on the podcast is hopefully helping people externally to see that actually we're a pretty swish tech company in the way that we work.
Yeah, and like Callum said, I think the car selling stuff is the tip of the iceberg, is 100% the tip of the iceberg. Like, how many people know about all the great work we do with the government and things like that, and EV and policy and things like that, or all the stuff we do with data and insurance companies. We sell cars. Like that's what people know us for, still know us for. How many times do you go to a barbecue or you get in the taxi or something like that? Oh, what do you do? I work at Auto Trader. I bought that magazine last week. But you didn't, did you? You didn't. Yeah. And like, we had a conversation the other day, like BMW put out these concept cars and stuff like that. Like, they're a car company, but this car can see that you're going to fall asleep with the wheel. That's tech. That's tech. There's so much more to BMW than selling cars. The same way there's so much more to us than selling cars. People just don't know that. They aren't aware of it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ones I really enjoyed is, when I started thinking about it, is even just the internal view, because we're like, even from product and tech, there's like 370, 380 of us. And then like Creative Studio is in like the operational, but we've got like lots of like brother, sister teams. But actually we don't all know what everyone's doing. So I started thinking about it like, I know lots of people in the organisation, because I've been here ages, and I just chat. Is there a way that you can say you can distill that conversation where you've had someone find something out and then somebody else can see it? And actually, do you start thinking, oh, so that's what the BAs do, or that's what product means, or that what mean taking to market? So a bit of a internal one. It was a bit weird when, it's only happened a couple of times, but like I interviewed someone and said, oh, I've seen you on the podcast, and I'm a bit like, whoa. It goes like, even though I know it's on YouTube and Spotify, it's like someone external's looking at it. Oh, that's a bit freaky. But it's been
so powerful, isn't it? Because if you're applying for a software engineering apprentice job, and you've read through all the job description, and obviously we put a lot of work into that to make sure it's bob on. But then you see that there's a video on YouTube that's like the life of a software engineering apprentice at Auto Trader. It's like that 40-minute video is going to tell you like probably whether Auto Trader is a good fit for you, the kind of things you'd be doing on a day-to-day basis. But that's super powerful.
And it was so left field though as well. Like when people asked, like, people have mentioned this in interviews, I was like, what? It's not for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but and I think that's the bit where. So going back to that, why on lots of different fronts. I mean, someone asked me, why are you doing it? Like, to me, why are you doing it? And I was like going through, you do the why. No, really why? No, really why? And it sounds bizarre, but it probably isn't, because we've all done this. But as a kid, I really wanted, like, I listened to Atlantic 252. I mean, I'm that old. But I always wanted to be like on the radio. I loved making my own like mixtapes and radio stations. And mum and dad, like, I think they got a video of it like at a cousin's house. Me with a radio and a mic, looking like a right 10, like right Wally. But it is actually really interesting. The camera thing threw me, because I'm like, I don't like people seeing me. But now I've just got used to that. Yeah. But it is the bit where it is like, it's a bit of like an old passion for when I was a kid. So I find it like, just personally, like, it's not only the things, the why, like from a brand, or the why from an employee perspective, or candidate, or joining teams up, is I actually enjoy it. It's like, it's really good fun, and it's a nice way to just keep connecting with your colleagues. Yeah,
but even like, I guess from a creative direction point of view, like, we technically don't need these cameras. We don't need Jordan and JT sat behind it, but. Like, sorry, boys, pack your bags. But
no, we do need you.
Very much so. Please don't cut me off. It just adds an extra level of intimacy.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Which, again, like, we are sat in a meeting room, one of our meeting rooms, like, now that we've converted to a pop-up studio, essentially, and it all adds to it in a very minuscule way. It's all very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, because I sometimes I don't even need me Mac. But I feel like there's bits where it's a little comfort blanket. So the comfort blanket, I always wear the headphones. Like we're talking to other guests. I don't like them. It's like, I love it, because I'm in like a little cocoon and with my laptop, and it is like you are in a really personal little space where, like, I forgot for a minute Jonathan and Jordan were there, and even the cameras on the mic. You do forget about it for that like 30-35 minutes. So it is personally it is really interesting. We've done loads of recording now. So I think how many hours did you say we've done, Jordan? 17 hours. Like, that doesn't sound a lot, but it is a lot.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot that goes into it in the background as well. Yeah.
But what have you any particular favourite moments or moments when you're like in those 17? I mean, I've got loads of ones where I go, oh god, that was really, really, like, I was scared at that point, and ones where I've been absolutely howling with laughter afterwards.
Yeah, I've definitely got a few. I think as the videos started building up on the YouTube channel, I'd just go on it and just look at the little grid of videos and be like, we did that.
Yeah.
We did those videos. That's cool. Yeah. And then they were building a new investor site, because obviously we're a FTSE 100 company, so there's a site that investors can go to and look at the share price, etc. And we didn't even ask for this, but
no, we didn't.
They just designed a whole like roadmap section on one of the pages, and we got sent it. I was like, that is amazing. Like, this little thing that we'd started as a small group of people now has been picked up by someone in a completely different part of the business, and they've gone, that's really valuable for our investors to know about that. Yeah. I was like, that is absolutely crazy. So that was definitely one of the big ones, I think.
Yeah, I think, I forgot about that on the FTSE 100 stuff. I think for me, that like Roadmap Live, we shouldn't have been doing that. We started this in May, like, and I just think, I was like when I was sat at the back of the auditorium, like watching this happen, I was like, do you know what it is? Somewhere else, like, this would have been calculated to within an inch. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it would have been perfected to hell.
Yeah.
And how many people turned up as well? I was like, this is crazy. This is really good. And like, just seeing it on a big stage like that, and like you said, Pete, we're in the safety of our own place, like here, like, do you know what I mean? And anything could have happened in that auditorium, like, fair enough. And it's brilliant. And I was just like, wow, like, in 6 months, like, we're already doing this.
Yeah. No, that was
really humbling, actually.
It was different. That, I mean, that reminded me as a kid. I think I don't know if you ever did this, where your school would take you to like the big city. So we went to London as a school, and it was a riot. Like, actually, I think maybe the school didn't do it again because the kids. Like, I remember getting off. Me and my mate jumped off at a tube station, like on the way back to the hotel, and the teachers were still on the tube. And then we're stood there on the station going, we actually don't know where we're going. Like, there was no mobile phones then. This is like it was about 1990, maybe 89. But on that school trip, we went to a live radio production, with interactive audience. Yeah. And that, when we did the live one, that's what it felt like, because you were still next to the guests having a chat. Like, we still had like theme we wanted to talk through. Nothing really scripted. It was like free end, like, what are people going to say? But it was the fact that at the end that you had live interaction of either people laughing or questions or whatever it might be. It was bizarre, but like I say, it's probably like, so far of the seasons we've done, it was like the pinnacle of like, that was brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny how like we all have things back from maybe like childhood that have led us to be drawn to this weird, like opportunity to do it, because I always did, like, when I was at school, I used to try to do everything creative on the side that I could, like join the jazz band and do all that kind of stuff. Uni, I was like organising fashion shows and all sorts of random stuff. Then obviously getting a job, I was like, I wonder if there's anything I can do. This is good fun.
No, it's in a way, like, I'd never thought of doing anything like this. It has tapped into like memories from like 40 years ago. One of the ones where we were laughing about it, where I found it really hard, because on the early days we were like, how many episodes can we record? How do we do it? What's the length? Is when we started going, do you know what, we can, because everybody has got the day jobs, and actually from a production setup perspective, just looking around the room with the lighting, the cameras, isn't an easy thing. And also getting room bookings is to set things up and trying to do, like, how can we do multiple things in a day? But it's the one where I end up getting cramp. And I get cramp here, just like in one of my, and I was in agony for about 4 minutes. And it was one where I was struggling to speak, like, yeah. And it was one where, like, the lesson is like, I can't sit down for that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's been loads. I mean, another one for me is when people are really nervous or really don't want to do it. So I think on the test engineering one, all three were really nervous, Biz, Hannah, Neil, about it. And I think had reluctantly said, yeah, we'll talk about it. But the minute, I think that bit is, after 3 minutes, you could see they'd all just relaxed. And it was like the mic wasn't there. And it's that bit after going, that was really good. I'd be up for doing one of them again.
Yeah.
It is the bit of giving people confidence that everyone's got the back. No one wants them to fail. It's good. Just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's another one of my highlights. Like when you see the guests come in, shuffle in, and oh, where do I sit? Get it all set up for them. And then by the end, when they walk out, it's like they've just come off a stage.
Yeah.
And, they're all hyped up and they've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that can then be, and we've seen it because some people have been asked to speak at conferences and stuff because they've seen them on the podcast. It gives them that kind of transition.
It's definitely a
catalyst.
Or it's like a safe zone in it. So this is where, if it's up for you, if you really don't like it, maybe it's one way you don't want to do it again, but you've had a go at it. And if you go, actually, it's all right.
Yeah.
Is it the bit I did that and it really helped with my confidence? So there's lots of angles. But I'm thinking now, moving forward, got my usual patter, look back, look forward. But looking forward, we've done 2 seasons, 17 hours of episodes. We've got multiple hosts. We've got more people from production involved. We've got different members of the OLT have joined us. There's other ones of the OLT. I think even one of the sessions we had where we got a new chairman, Matt, he even mentioned, I've seen that podcast thing. But what's next? Because obviously, again, going back to it is it's not just me. It's definitely not just me. I'm tiny little cog in it all. But there's lots of ideas. So where do you want to take it next?
What is next? I think we obviously want as many people as possible to come on internally. I think there's a big push external as well. So if you listen to this on YouTube, Spotify, and you want to come on, give me or Callum a shout.
Don't give me a shout. I'm I think really rubbish at responding to anything.
But I think it's also fair to say, with the content, we're still in our infancy, right? We're finding out where we are, what's great. Yeah. So for me, nothing's off the table. We do track the metrics and things like that on YouTube and things like that. But I think, I don't know if I'm wrong in saying this, we like making this because we like making it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the best part. So as you said there, Pete, come and talk about whatever. As long as it's related to product and tech, go for it. Go for it.
We were just talking earlier, weren't we? Even today we've been chatting about stuff and there's been a different vibe to each one. It doesn't necessarily even need to be about products and technology, but it's there's lots of different angles, what you as a product or technologist really interested and passionate about that's in society. There's lots of different angles we can go at.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just staying consistent with it. We're releasing every week, which is tough to keep up with, and there's a lot of admin behind the scenes to make sure that we can do that. But keeping consistent, planning some awesome topics, which we've got loads in the pipeline, and having wider planning sessions with engineers and testers and designers, people from all corners of P&T, and bringing them in and getting their perspectives on what would make really good topics. Yeah, and just continuing, really making sure everyone's enjoying it. That's the point of it.
Yeah. You got to enjoy it. The minute we stop enjoying it, it's either time to roll off and let someone roll on, or iterate on something different. I really I know the live one. I think doing more of those is because it is nerve-wracking, absolutely nerve-wracking, because those ones we're not editing. It's to get the actual real vibe of the session, you just gotta go with it. And I know Jordan, it was a bit with 200 people, whatever it was, there as well, filming it was a bit but I think do more of those, and whether that be it internal conferences, excellent, whatever it might be, I think that's something that I think we should push on as well.
100%.
Cool. So I think we're going to do another take, because obviously Jordan and Jonathan are on the other side around the actual production elements, and because video production itself is a super interesting area in Auto Trader. I think when I was plugging in the apprenticeships, Jordan's why don't you plug video, production? You're going dev this, dev that. So there is loads to do. So I think when Tom's back, I'll have a go at being sound engineer, and Ian will do a bit of camera work, and we'll get Jonathan, Jord, Tom. Maybe we'll bring Tim in. But yeah, thanks for today and coming on the other side. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. There has been a cast of thousands involved, whether it be Tom, Tim, Jordan, Jonathan, Yaz, Ben, Rach, and many, many more, just to help us get it going. Like I said, just people leaving us to it has been brilliant. There's been like no interference. It's just a little bit of guidance now and again, which is brilliant. So cheers always for tuning in. And if you do want to think about if your organisation wants to do a podcast, and or you're one of the internals that want to get on it, please reach out to one of us, either on Slack or if it's externally, LinkedIn. But be aware I'm like stuck in 1990, so it does take me a while to respond.
Yeah, we're yet to train you up on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, whatever X, Twitter it's called, I'm just like, yeah, woo. But I do like the YouTube because I'm in mountain bike videos. So please like and subscribe on YouTube. I understand what YouTube is. Hit the notification button so you never miss an episode. And I also use Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I am getting into that world. So follow us on those two platforms. And that's us. Bye for now.
Cheers.